When studying Buddhism for the first time, one of the most interesting practices one will discover is Dhyana. When first introduced to the concept, many are initially told that it is just meditation. However, this definition is not really ideal and leaves too much room for ambiguity. Dhyana is more than just Buddhist monks meditating, and furthermore, it is still being practiced today. To understand Dhyana, one must first understand how it was practiced in the beginning. Dhyana is a Sanskrit word that refers to an aspect of meditation. It is a key concept in both Buddhism and Hinduism. In Buddhism, a person's goal is to end the cycle of rebirth, which is often called samsara, and realizing the true reality of nirvana. In order to do this, one has to train and purify their mind. One of the means by which this is done is the practice of Dhyana. In Buddhism, there are 8 different states or jhanas. The first 4 are the arupajhanas or material jhanas, that is to say, they are connected to the physical world. These states are often described by the mental aspects that are present in these states. As a meditator reaches the first jhana, he or she will find that they are able to meditate without being disturbed by any thought or desire. In the second jhana, all mental processes cease. There is only rapture, happiness, and the object being meditated upon. The meditator perceives of no self looking upon the object. In the third jhana, joy disappears, and in the fourth jhana, even happiness disappears, leaving a state of neither pleasure nor suffering. In some Buddhist traditions, reaching the fourth jhana even bestows psychic powers upon the practitioners. After the 4 rupa jhanas come the 4 arupajhanas or non-material jhanas. These are described by their mental objects. The 5th jhana is infinite space, the 6th jhana is infinite consciousness, the 7th jhana is nothingness, and the 8th and final jhana is neither perception nor non-perception. In Hinduism, Dhyana is practiced a little differently. Under Hinduism, Dhyana is one of the 8 methods of yoga, that is, the reintegration of the Atman, or self, with Brahma, most commonly referred to as God. Yoga encompasses a variety of traditions geared towards self-discipline, the realization of the self, and unity of the self with God. Under Hinduism, the stage of meditation preceding Dhyana, called dharana, is an object is meditated upon and held in the mind. This is the first state of deep meditation. In Dhyana, the object and the meditator become one, such that the meditator is not even conscious of meditating, only of his or her self. The practitioner must then maintain this oneness for 144 inhalations and exhalations. Following Dhyana comes the stage of samadhi, which is a superconscious state where the self dissolves. Now that we have discussed the origins of Dhyana, we can move on to how it is being practiced today. The most obvious example of Dhyana being practiced today is by those who never stopped being practitioners of it. That's right, there are still many Buddhists and Hindus today that practice their religion and philosophies in the same way that was done many years ago. Though recently, as early as the 1970s, another group of people have started practicing Dhyana as part of their movement known as New Age. These people do not follow the set path of one religion, but rather pick and choose from the mystical traditions of other religions, creating their own spiritual journeys. These New Agers generally have implicit critiques of other religions and tend to focus heavily on meditation, believing that prayer and faith alone are not enough to be saved. And, as with any emerging market, there will of course be a slew of businesses aimed to take advantage of that market, so it should come to no surprise that there are now literally thousands of videotapes aimed at teaching you how to meditate and reach enlightenment. Many of the followers of the traditional schools of meditation feel that this commercialization of their beliefs trivializes their practices and eschew the New Age religions for this very reason. Many other forms of Dhyana are practiced today as well. You may have even partaken in Dhyana without even realizing it. A common way that this occurs is through something called driving meditation. Driving meditation has occurred when you realize that you've been driving for the past while, sometimes just a minute, sometimes much longer, and don't actually remember doing it. What has happened during this time is that you essentially use driving as the object of your meditation, and for a while were focused solely on the act of driving, in much the same way many Buddhists focus on their breathing to begin meditation. For a period of time, you were only concerned with the journey and not focused on your destination as most people do. Another form of Dhyana that is utilized today, though not quite in the exact literal sense, is the practice of taking a vacation. During a vacation, a person is frequently not themselves. They don't do the things they normally do, such as work or chores, and they do things that they normally wouldn't. Go to an amusement park, spend lots of money on something pointless. In a way, they're no longer focusing on their life, that is, the things that they leave at home, their jobs, their long-term goals, etc., but are rather focusing on the journey that is living. Robert Pirsig was the first person who addressed vacations as a form of Dhyana in his book Lila, and I can put it no more succinctly than he. Vacation. How perfectly named that is. An emptying out. That's what Dhyana is. An emptying out of all the static clutter and junk of one's life and just settling into an undefined sort of tranquility. In today's modern society, it should come as no surprise that science has done its fair share of dabbling into Dhyana. Several studies have been conducted to determine what, if any, are the changes in the body that occur during meditation. The results are rather interesting and show a wide range of effects across the board. The most immediately noticeable changes to the body during meditation are physical. While meditating, a person's heart rate may be decreased by up to an average of 7 beats per minute, with the effects being more pronounced in experienced meditators. Various other studies have also shown that oxygen consumption is reduced during meditation, in some cases up to 55%, and that respiration rate is also lessened, in some cases down to 1 breath per minute, 12 to 14 breaths per minute being the average. Muscle tension, like oxygen consumption, has been reduced during recent experiments involving meditation. In the secure calm of meditation, it seems one can begin to relax more deeply as conditioned expectations of threat diminish. Such relaxation of the muscles contributes to the body's lowered need for energy, the slowing of respiration, and the lowering of stress-related hormones in the blood. Other studies have been conducted to test various psychological changes that occur during and as a result of meditation. One study tested people with a strong right-hand preference with an auditory stimulus presented to the right, left, and both ears. Before meditation, when the ears were compared to each other, a significant right ear advantage occurred in all the relaxed conditions for both groups. After meditation, however, the meditation group demonstrated no right ear advantage. The authors concluded that meditation disrupts the usual biases of the brain. Another study was aimed at judging problem-solving effectiveness in teams and found that meditation teams improved more from pre-test to post-test than control teams, and that the meditators felt less tense and had a greater sense of effective teamwork than control teams. Recent studies have shown that meditation reduces both acute and chronic anxiety. An important thing to note about both the physical and psychological changes that take place during and after meditation is that they are stable over time. In short, this means that meditation actually changes you, even if you stop meditating for a while. Science has not only done studies to show what the effects of meditation are, but is also actively looking into how meditation may work. While no definitive answer has been reached, there are several strongly supported theories floating around. One such theory is that meditation is the result of an interaction between the amygdala and the neocortex. For example, things like the fight-versus-flight response and also emotions. The neocortex, on the other hand, is responsible for slower, more thought-out judgments. That is, it thinks things through for possible benefit. In normal situations, the amygdala takes over in certain situations, i.e., when there's danger. However, persons adroit in meditation can reframe the emotion and allow the neocortex to take over before the usual reflex motion is allowed to take place. Another theory on how meditation works is that the meditation increases in activity in prefrontal cortex. This is the area of the brain associated with concentration and planning, and it would make sense that people who are frequent practitioners of meditation would also have high activity in this area of the brain. Similar studies have also found that a decrease in this area is also noticed with depression, which would seem to indicate that meditation is a possible opposite of depression. Another study has also shown that meditation is linked to high gamma wave activity on an EEG, or electroencephalograph, a device used to measure brainwave activity. Gamma waves indicate synchronicity between the different areas of the brain. The study shows that persons experienced with meditation show high gamma activity both at rest and while meditating. One thing to note about this study is that it does not show if this increase is because of meditation or if persons with high gamma activity are naturally drawn to meditation in the first place. While most research into the effects of meditation has focused on the positive benefits, there are some studies that show possible negative consequences to meditation. One reason for these negative consequences is that meditation deals with very difficult existential questions and the very nature of the subject-object relationship. Delving into something like this should not be taken lightly,